There are toys, and then there are freak-out-worthy toys. Toys that get big reactions like,
OMG, no way!
Or,
best present ever!
Or,
it's what I've always wanted.
For those toys, you need Walmart. They've got exclusives from major brands like Disney, Barbie, and Adventure Force that you can't find anywhere else. Toys that make kids jump for joy.
Thank you.
And make you a hero for giving them. Shop hundreds of exclusive toys.
Yes!
Welcome to your Walmart.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes per detail.
We can sort through all of our schemes pretty quickly. So, for instance, let's say we lost, left tackle in the middle of a series, and then we've run a couple of the same scheme back to that side, and then we've noticed, hey, we started losing yardage or not gaining as much yardage. So it's easier for us to go back and pinpoint when that play was and then how we can adjust off of that.
In this episode of the National Coach of the Week, presented by Modern Football Technology, we sit down with Evan Dreyer, the head coach of Anderson High School in Ohio, who's recently led his team to a 9-0 record. That's the first time that they've had a 9-0 start since 2009, and they play for the league championship this week. With this past win, the Raptors qualified as the number 1 seed in the region in Ohio D2 playoffs. Coach Dreyer is 72-27 since taking over the program in 2016. We discussed the journey leading to this historic achievement, highlighting the innovative structure of their early morning practices that enhance player focus and optimize their weekly preparation. This episode is presented by Modern Football Technology. If you're making the playoff push, right now is the time you can add a tool like Modern Football Technology. It's out of the box ready and can help you make adjustments, as AJ Antonescu, offensive line coach at Lake Travis in Texas, explains in this next segment.
I would recommend Modern Football Technology to any program at any level. One of the main reasons is if any program is interested in acquiring data, storing data, managing their data, Modern Football Technology can help them do that. Whether you're in the NFL or high school or college, every team has to manage their data.
If you're serious about this playoff push and using analytics to help you win some games, be sure to contact Modern Football Technology. There's a link to book a demo in the show notes.
This episode is brought to you by Vitamin Water. So much of what the world is obsessed with starts out in New York City. It's a place full of style and character that has something for everyone. With a range of flavors to meet any kind of taste, it's no wonder Vitamin Water was born there. Colorful, flavorful, anything but boring, Vitamin Water injects a daily dose of vibrancy into a watered-down life. Grab a Vitamin Water today. Vitamin Water is a registered trademark of Glasso.
We continue on with our National Coach of the Week series, and today we go to Ohio. We had a big game here in Southwest Ohio, and our National Coach of the Week is the head coach of Anderson High School, Evan Dreyer. Evan, great to have you here on the podcast, and congratulations on being recognized as our National Coach of the Week.
Keith, this is awesome. This is a great accolade. We were so excited to get a victory Friday night. Our staff and our kids put a lot of time into getting our preparation, and it was one of those victories. 9-0 versus 9-0 was a great environment, and to come out with a great victory in the second half was huge for us.
In some ways, a historic win for your program. It's been a while since you guys have come into this week 10 at 9-0, and those kinds of things are always good as well. A lot of excitement, I'm sure, in the community.
Well, since 2009, that was the last time our school was 9-0. We were Division I then. They were coming off 2007, 2008. They were coming off 2 state championship appearances and had a great opportunity in 2009. Some players got injured, and we have some of those guys on staff. And as the season goes on, having an experienced staff and having a quality staff has helped our kids prepare. And it's nothing better than winning a game on Friday night and having a great community behind you.
Definitely. And the win puts you at a lock at number 1 seed. That's never an easy thing to do, especially to lock it up with a week to go in the season.
Yes, so it's huge for us as we go into our kind of conference championship game this week. And I think it's key for us as we move forward of starting a playoff vision right now, our preparation of making sure our kids don't get too high, too low. And it's key for us to kind of set the tone as we head into week 10 and get ready for the playoffs as number 1 seed. So we don't overlook anybody and we keep getting better each and every day and going through everything about making sure that we're chasing best.
I want to talk about your practice structure, which is unique. In Ohio here, we typically don't have things like athletic periods, but I think you've come up with a unique format here that allows you to get everything you need out of a practice day. We'd love to hear first where this came about for you and how long you've been doing it, and then we could get into some of the details of how it's done.
So for the last few years, we've been practicing on Thursday mornings, and I started to like it. And then with the heat index over the years, we had to move practice in the mornings. And finally this year, due to staff and how everything worked out, we've been practicing in the morning. We start at 6 a.m. and we go right around to 7:15, 7:20. And you have to be really, really efficient. You have to be on top of it. You have to front load. But it's been great for kids. Once we get done with practice, they have a breakfast, they shower, they go to school. And then once school is over with, we have film, indie, walkthrough. And honestly, it's way different as you go through it as a husband and a coach, and you head home, you get dinner, and then you got to get ready for practice tomorrow morning. So there are some things that are really, really different about our afternoons now as coaches, but it's been really good, Keith, to front load it, and then you can go back through it. I think our film and evaluation have been really different this year and improved our team.
Yeah, that definitely is a different schedule. And being home for dinner on time as a coach is a rare thing, especially as the season gets going. So I'm sure your coaches love that. I've done morning practices before. That's always a challenge, too, to get things going. And you mentioned we got to squeeze a lot in and be efficient. So what does that look like for you there in the morning? What's the structure look like?
So I think the biggest thing that our first 10 to 15 minutes, especially from an offensive defensive standpoint, we have 3-minute pre-practice of every little thing you can do in special teams. Then we go right into a screen period on offense, and defense goes right into a circuit. Then we go right into an unscripted blitz pickup period right off the bat, where we have people moving, our quarterback has to move. And I think it's really good in that first 10 minutes of how structurally you have to go and get prepared and move fast into a game-like situation and understand what you're teaching. That's the first thing I love watching on tape throughout the day of blitz pickup, because if you can't get after the passer and you can't protect the quarterback, especially on second down, second and long, third down, everybody knows that game situation. It's the first thing that you have to look up as a coach of how you're going to protect the passer and you're going to get after him on blitzes.
I like the screen period. I always believe that that's the way to practice screens. You just rarely get the look you need out of your scout team, because you think about it, screens are very much something that you're playing off what the defense is doing, the rhythm of the defense, their tendencies, etc., what's happening at that point in the game. And I mean, let's face it, sometimes even those scout players might not be going as hard as you want them to, or they get pretty good at sniffing those out too. So I never had a great success of running screens in practice in team periods, but loved running them in the screen periods. What does your screen period look like for you? How do you guys set it up?
So we set it up with coaches as it. So we don't use scout, Keith. I think that's the first thing that kind of every coach either gets really angry or they know the play. So I think it starts off with from quick screens to slow screens to pressure screens. And I think the coaches knowing we even have injured guys involved. We have freshman coaches involved. So every coach is either holding a bag or understanding like a coaching point that needs to be made. And we kind of move down the field like a situation. So think of it like right hash to middle to left hash, like almost you're moving down the field and trying to show the guys where you're going to call it, how you're going to call it from week to week. So on Monday, it's a little slower. By Wednesday, it's a little faster. And behind our group, then it goes, the JV and freshman teams are running the same screen behind us on air. So everybody's seeing it from there. So you can see a little vertical alignment. But I think the biggest thing is that, and with our first group and second group, you have coaches, bags, garbage cans out there to see where it needs to hit and so forth. Because it's a warm-up. It's literally, think of, it's 6 a.m., you had a special teams, and it's right into it from there.
Yeah, you definitely get things moving. And then, as you said, you go right into a blitz pickup. Another important thing you're doing. And again, guys are early in the morning here, so you got to get these guys moving. Talk to us a little bit about blitz pickup and what you found to be the best ways to go out about a period like that.
So it's 8 to 10 pass pro. The only thing that our offensive coaches have to say is whether it's a 6-man pressure, and we have to switch whether it's the ball's in the middle of the field or on a hash. And that is the key thing. We have a coach that says, hey, how many receivers are to this side, that side? You know, as defensive coaches usually have 7 guys, but then they have to add 3 coaches in there in the back, Keith. And so we have to distribute and communicate that. And then from there, it is pocket movement. People are moving about 10 yards. So the quarterback has to see it. He's going through, we call play in it. So he has to just see his head movement of the progression and move from there. And then we yell scramble from there, or, hey, you got to get the first down with your legs type thing. So it's been good for us to see it. So we are usually like on the right hash doing it. The JV is on the left hash. And then the freshmen are in the middle of the field about 20 yards down the field.
So just like the screens, everybody's working.
Yeah. So from there, think of the varsity's going. The varsity coordinator has already told the JV of what blitzes he's calling, and that's kind of how they're working it. So right from after that period, we go right into 5 minutes of scout right off the bat. And I call it kind of like your top 20 situations, like first down on Monday, second in red zone on Tuesday, Wednesday's third down, third short, third and medium, third and long. And then from there, you go right into the individual, just like everybody else does. But I think it's key to work those situations versus scout right off the bat. So then when you do best on best, or when you do certain situations, it's already at the beginning of it, so you can work through it during Indy as well, due to our front loading of everything.
My hospital stay would have cost $25,000, but with VA healthcare, it's free.
My education would have cost $42,000, but with VA benefits, my books, tuition, and housing are all covered.
The down payment for my home would have been $74,000, but with my VA home loan, my down payment was $0. My service was then. My benefits are now. Get what you earned. Visit choose.va.gov.
Not all veterans are eligible for the type or amount of benefits mentioned here.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
Yeah, so where does Indy appear in the practice plan for you?
So it is 12 minutes right after we get done with Fast 5 versus Scouts. And Fast 5 is we get 5 minutes to go as fast as we can in that situation of going over what we want.
All right, so I'm losing track of the minutes here. I know you don't have a lot. What's the total time? Did you say it was an hour and 15? Hour and 20 on the field?
Yep.
Hour and 15 on the field?
Yep.
So what do we have left here after all these periods? Did we miss anything, or did we hit them on them all?
So after Indy, we go to Team Force, which is something I got from all the Saban tree. We do a little bit differently than those guys. We stay in either the same formation for about 4 to 6 racks and kind of see how we play structurally versus them. And that's been really good for us because it's an RPO period. It's the best on best period. It's physicality. And so from Team Force, then we go into 7-on-7, and then you go into a scout period. Then you have special teams from there. So you're cooking, Keith, of like how fast and efficient you have to be. And we have so many people that help out with practice to make sure it's organized, to get things rolling, moving, where the drone's supposed to be set up, where the ball is supposed to be. Like our injured players have a role during practice, whether it's a down marker, whether it's spotting the ball, whether it's counting plays, whether it's taking notes. Everybody's got a role still and inside our program. And the expectation is held to the highest standard.
And there definitely is that deadline for you guys to make sure you are off the field because you can't have these guys late to class. You said you get them breakfast there too before they get going. How have they responded to it? That's not always the easiest thing to say, hey guys, we're going to get up even earlier and go. But how have the players responded to this format?
So I think, Keith, the biggest thing is that we work out in the off season in the morning. Monday through Thursday, we work out, and then we have an open lift on Saturday. So the hardest part is the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of the grind of putting a helmet, shoulder pads, and understanding like once you tee it up and get on the graph, you got to be ready to go. And I think they like it because of our support at volleyball games and soccer games has gone up. Our athletic program as a whole this fall, we've had an undefeated girls soccer team. Boys are ranked number 1. We had our golf teams. Both went to the kind of state championship. So, like, our guys got to go to more activities and events than they've ever had. And I think that's key. As a coach, you can't preach, invest in our school at certain times when you get done with practice at 6 p.m. You as a coach haven't seen your family. You haven't been able to do certain things. And I think that's been really key to make sure everybody's working together at our school.
Yeah, definitely. Now, let's touch on the after-school part of what you guys do. You said walk through and film, and I'm sure there's some lift in there as well.
Yeah, so we lift Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So Monday and Wednesday, we will lift for 35 to 45 minutes, and then we go right out there and do our walkthrough, and then we have film. Tuesday, we go right out with helmets on right after school and go through walkthrough of all the situations, Keith, and think of every situation of red zone, 2 minutes, coming out, going in, personnel packages. And that's been really good for us because at certain times, I feel like you lose people's attention and you get angry as a coach when you're trying to do walkthroughs. And we've been able to keep their attention because after walkthrough, go to film, we take notes and we go through it, question, and coaches stay as long as the kid wants to go over everything, which is very different than when you're getting done with practice after school, then they get film, they just want to leave. So I think our attention to detail has been a little bit improved because of, well, it's only 3:30 and a kid still is like, well, okay, I can ask coach about this. I can get 10 more minutes of film. I can go over this. I can do one more drill if needed to go over this so I can fix this on this scheme, so forth.
Yeah, I could see how that would be advantageous for the way things work after school. It is always harder if we're trying to squeeze, lift and maybe watching some film and some brief meetings. I mean, probably can't hit it all as much as you would like to if you're doing it all in the afternoon and breaking it up like this. I'm sure has shown a lot of benefits and advantages. I mean, it's always about, well, how's it worked out for you on the field? And so far, so good at 9-0.
I also think it's a mentality that you have to go all in with, because there's some days when it's raining at 6 a.m. and you got to practice in the gym and you're angry because if you practice at 3 p.m., it wouldn't be raining. Like, it's just, as every coach knows, like, okay, at least we got to practice in the gym. We didn't have to fight off and not have practice. So there's been some give and take, Keith, over it, which has been good for us. And we stayed really healthy throughout this so far this year because of the practice times, and you get more treatment as well after school. Because if you think about after school, a kid can go to walk through and then get treatment after, and then get another treatment throughout the night. So that's been good for us health-wise.
Coach, I really appreciate you taking the time. Again, congratulations on being recognized as our National Coach of the Week, and best of luck to you and the Raptors the rest of the way.
I appreciate it. Go Raptors. Thanks for having me on, Keith, and best of luck to everybody out there coaching the greatest game in the world.
Here's our winning edge takeaway from our conversation with Coach Dreyer. The biggest thing I took away from this one is rethinking how you do things. For them, it was taking a look at morning practices. They found that that really provides them an optimal structure for them to do what they need to prepare their players on the practice field, in the meeting room and film room, and with their weightlifting sessions. This reminds me of Kevin Kelly, and he's talked to us on the podcast before. For those of you who don't know Kevin, he's the coach who never punts, onside kicks every time, goes for 2 every time, etc. Kevin one time joined us and talked about asking yourself why. Why do you do things? Are you doing it because everybody's always done it that way? I think in getting some clarity on why you do things, especially as you come out of this season and you start reviewing things, I think can provide a huge benefit for you getting clarity on what you want to do moving forward. Be sure to check out our partners, Vertical Raise, for your fundraising needs, Modern Football Technology for analytics and in-game decision-making, and Signature Championship Rings when you win the championship this year. Links and information to all of our partners can be found in the description and on coachingcoordinator.com in our 10% toolkit. Follow us on X at Coach K. Grabowski.